Okay, now without further ado, I'm really excited for this part of the talk. We are just going to move on to our student and alumni panel. So we have three students with us here today. We have Harish, who is from Dublin and studying a part-time master's, the MSc in Emergency Management. He also studied his undergrad degree here at DCU, so he is DCU true and true. We have Nant, who is from Myanmar, and she is an alumni of the MSc in Financial Mathematics. And then finally, we have Zora, who's from Czechia and is studying the MSc in Human Resource Management. Um, and is currently in a degree program, and she's also a student ambassador here with us at DCU. If you all want to say hello.
Hi, I'm
Hey,
not sure if you guys can see me.
yeah, we can see and hear you all, I think. So Harish, we might start with you, since you have been kind of in DCU the longest. What encouraged you to kind of return to DCU after your undergrad to study your postgraduate?
Suppose a couple of reasons. So number one would be the proximity. So I don't live that far away from the campus, so and I suppose TCU is well connected to the rest of Ireland, let's say. It's not that far from the airport, and it's not that far from the city centre, which means from either of those places you can pretty much get to practically anywhere, and that was a driving factor. Connectivity was a driving factor. Aside from that, it was the positive experience from my undergraduate. So because I'd gone to DCU already previously, it did drive me to go and do a master's in DCU. And thirdly, it was the uniqueness of the course. Like in my course, the MSc in Emergency Management, doesn't really exist anywhere else in Ireland. So because of how unique it was, it would help in the long run when it comes to employment and when it comes to the CV essentially because it just stands out. So that was the three main reasons. And on top of that, because I'd gone to DCU previously, the discount did come in,
Hmm.
which did help a lot.
Yeah, we always love to hear a student coming back to say they had such a good experience that they want to come spend some more time with us. And I think you touched on as well, the alumni discount is a great benefit for anyone that has done their undergrad here to stay on. Obviously, cost of living crisis that everyone is going through. It's always nice to get a little bit of a discount on your fees. Nant, we might move on to you next. You came from outside of Ireland. What kind of motivated you to choose Ireland and also choose DCU in particular?
Well, studying abroad has always been a dream of mine. So the decision of coming to Ireland and to TCU of all things was a mix of opportunity and instinct. I finished my bachelor's in mathematics, so I wanted somewhere I could actually apply my mathematical skills. So I carefully went through different course outlines, and that is how I found this TCU program. And the modules match with what I'm looking for. And I also heard that Irish people are so friendly and easy to talk to. So that also make the decision even easier. And I also did some research on DCU. It is important since I am going to spend a whole year in one place. And DCU has a great supported environment for international students. And that is how I decided to come here. Yeah.
Great. And did you think that was actually true when you arrived, that Irish people were very warm?
Yeah. Like when I was like walking on the street and make eye contact with completely strange person and the other person like at least smile at me, or greet at me. So yeah, I found that it's like quite lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That is a really nice story.
Yeah.
And then Zora, moving on to you. You're here most recently, you joined us just in September. How have you found the kind of academic side of things here at DCU so far, whether it be the teachers or the assignments, that sort of stuff?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna agree with Nant. I think Irish people are so lovely, but on top of that, we have more of like a mix between theoretical side and also practical. So the approach to learning is very unique from, I think, anything I've ever had before, because in my course specifically, some classes, for example, had guest lectures with like with people that had HR experience. We got to hear how they got to the job position that they are now and just their side of the perspectives. We also got hands-on experience as well. And it was really interesting because, for example, we had a VR experience about taking and conducting an interview. And then we also received guided feedback. So we have that, and then we have trips to companies, and the teachers also try to make it as interactive as possible. So for example, group work, cooperation is extremely valued in at least my course, but like in general as well. So they try to mix both as much as possible.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's really, I think, important here at DCU in a lot of our courses is to blend that mix of both theory and practical. And I experienced that as well as a student. I think it is one of the best ways to teach to ensure that you're ready for your career afterwards. Harish, just coming back to you, you're studying part-time, which I can see we have a lot of questions in the chat about studying part-time. What have you kind of found to be the most beneficial things about studying part-time here at DCU?
I suppose the main thing is flexible. So, if you're working full time, which I am myself, so if you're working full time, you have that flexibility to design your life around both your professional life, but also your academic life and your personal life as well. So, for example, for me, I'm only on campus twice a month. And then if you look at the semester, I'm only there 4 or 5 times a semester. So it does help a lot. You're not too stressed. There is that fine balance. And if times do get tough, the lecturers and the staff are always approachable. They don't have a brick wall up, essentially. So you can always approach them if time's getting tough, talk to them, and they're able to be a bit more lenient in terms of things. So part-time is one of the best decisions I've ever made, rather as opposed to full-time. Sorry, as opposed to full-time study, because if it's full-time study, you are taking, I suppose, a year out of your professional career. Whereas part-time, it happens simultaneously, which is a huge benefit.
Yeah, and we hear that all the time from our part-time students. It is a really great flexible option. I think it's important as well for anyone thinking about part-time is to talk to your employer before you come and chat about the time that you might be there and see can you make an arrangement that suits both then, as Harish was saying, your professional and your academic goals. Um, and not coming back to you, how did you find then settling in here in Ireland and kind of making that transition from Myanmar to Dublin?
Yeah, honestly, the transition from Myanmar to Ireland was a lot. So the very first thing that hit me was the weather. It was like so freezing, like for me, especially since I'm coming from a tropical monsoon region, but I am used to it now. And also, DCU was welcoming. The lecturers are very approachable, and people here are generally friendly. And I also found a small Myanmar community here. It is not very big, but it honestly made me feel so relieved. I had to say that I did struggle a bit in the first couple of months, but as I started talking to people, joining events, and slowly adapting, it felt much more comfortable. So it stopped feeling like I moved to a completely different place and started to feel like maybe I could really fit in here.
And we always try to tell students to get involved in as much things as possible. Do you think that kind of helped you a little bit in that
Yeah,
sort of
whenever
transition?
Yeah, whenever I feel like I miss home or I feel like I feel like a homesick, I always like talk to different people and it really helped me ease my mind. So yeah.
Okay, great. And so kind of on the same sort of note, is there any advice that you would give to other international students who are maybe planning to come to visit Ireland?
Yeah, so I don't know about anyone else on the Zoom, but I was very curious and I felt like I didn't have much of an outlet. I wasn't sure where to go. So I think if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask anyone, get contacts, message them if you need. As mentioned before, Irish people genuinely are very, very kind, very, very nice. So, even if you think, oh, the question is obvious, or maybe you feel like it's not, like a smart question, Irish people are so kind and like they will really, really make you feel like, they will really help you understand everything that you need to know. And also, There's also an app called UniBuddy that all of us are on, all the postgraduate ambassadors, and you can talk to current students as well, and they can share their experiences, help guide you through the process of application as well, any questions that you need. So I didn't know this before, but if I did, I would have been using that too. So I think if you're thinking of coming to DCU, you should really look at that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. Is UniBuddy is a great resource. If you go onto the resources section at the bottom of the screen, there is a link to chat to DCU students, and that will bring you there. And also, if you don't chat to students live, there's also lots of great blogs and articles from students touching on various different topics from that transition, or whether it be what the coursework is like, or doing their thesis or their practicum project. And then one final question then for you all before we move on is, Harish, maybe if you want to go first, what is your next step? What is your plan for kind of after DCU?
So I suppose using the course, it would be to advance in the career. Um, so I work in the emergency services, so it would be due to the nature of the course, a lot of it would directly apply to my career. So it would be to advance in terms of the ranks.
Great. And Nant, how about you?
I'm mainly looking at, so right now I'm applying different graduate programs and exploring what fit me best. So my goal is basically to get solid work experience here and build my career step by step, where I could actually use both my mathematical background and what I learned in the program. Yeah.
Great. And Zora, I know you're a little bit earlier in the process, but what are your plans for after your course?
Well, I'm hoping to make as many connections because all my professors have been really emphasizing on that. So I want to make connections. I want to continue in Ireland, find some experience here. As Nant said, graduate programs are great and we keep hearing about them. So I'm thinking of just looking at that and then from then on finding some experience within the country as well.
Great. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us and giving us some great insights into that kind of student life piece. And as Zora said, UniBuddy is a great resource. You can get it through the resources tab or just by searching DCU UniBuddy online. And you will be able to chat to not just these student ambassadors, but student ambassadors for many of our courses.